Hi, everyone.
Hi.
So excited to be here. I'm Vicken Arslanian. I am the refounder of Commodity Fragrances. And
Marissa Osiello, fragrance expert. Happy to be here.
first, super excited to be at Sephora. This is number one. It's kind of a homecoming, right? So I was born there and left there and we came back to there. So it's a really special moment. One of the really important things that we developed for Commodity was scent space. So the real question is, what is scent space? But I guess before answering that, we thought, let's kind of give you a little bit of a behind the scenes, right?
It's easier to show you guys.
So we're going.
Let's
Okay,
do
let's do it. So you're gonna follow us. I'm gonna stay close so you can hear me. You're gonna follow us into our office. So I'm gonna work backwards. These are our corporate offices. We were in the conference room. This is the team. It's like 5 o'clock here almost. So, it's almost quitting time. But I think the best way to understand what scent space is to see it on our wall. So tomorrow. So these are our 18 fragrances. What's important to know is that we have 3 different scent spaces. And what scent space is the ability for you to control the projection and intensity of your fragrance. If you've ever had a favorite fragrance, but it doesn't really kind of project or is not strong enough, for your liking, and you always want something stronger or something lighter, well, scent space is the answer to that problem. So all of our fragrances come in an expressive, which is the middle, which is the most well-balanced and ideal projection, ideal strength of a fragrance. And so for every fragrance,
Not ideal, what you would expect from a traditional perfume.
traditional,
Because ideal is different for each person.
fair enough. So we start with our, expressive fragrance right in the middle. And we created 3 scent spaces. So expressive, personal, and bold. So every fragrance comes in 2 other versions as well, right? So you have for Velvet, it's one of our fragrances, you'll have the Velvet Personal or Velvet Minus as we call it, or the Velvet Bold. So here you see our entire kind of collection of fragrances and how scent space looks kind of in its home as grouping. So we're gonna go back to the conference room and keep talking about scent space.
If you remember the wall that we were just at, this is like a wall of your own that you can take home with you. So this is our exploration kit, and it's pretty similarly laid out to what you just saw on the wall. But the reason I want to show you this, and we can speak to it more, is that you see that we have all the white personals here. We have the expressive, we have the bold. And what I love about this is it can really show you once you've tried them all at home on skin or with the blotters that we provide. And there's an awesome booklet, which we can tell you about as well. It'll be interesting to find out if you find, I'm just an expressive person. I want to collect them all, or a personal or a bold, or you might just say, I really love gold and I'm going to get all of the golds, and I'm going to wear gold personal to the office and gold bold to date night and gold expressive all the time. Or maybe I'm going to layer them. You can have there's a lot of mixing and matching that can happen here.
Yeah, I think that's, a really great kind of overview. I'd like to go a little deeper into each one.
Yes.
Right. So for those of you who remember Commodity, it had a bunch of fragrances, and we brought all the favorites back, right? So gold, velvet, moss. These are all the favorite fragrances from the original Commodity. And those all came back to us in kind of the expressive in the middle collection. When we developed the personal, it's really interesting. So the personal collection was really important for me because I felt like there were so many people that wanted kind of a skin scent, right? It's really odd, first of all, how kind of polarizing things have become.
Mm-hmm.
Some people want a super skin scent and others want beast mode.
Mm-hmm.
The personal scent spaces are really interesting because people think that if a fragrance is considered a skin scent, it's not going to last a long time, right? But our personal fragrances are meant to just not project, right? So Marissa's sitting close to me.
Mm-hmm.
So she should smell the personal fragrance, but it should last all day long. We actually reformulate our fragrances. So again, let's imagine gold. Gold is our previous bestseller. I'll tell you why previous a bit later. So when Commodity first launched at Sephora, gold was the bestseller, gold expressive. When we made the personal, we didn't actually make it lighter. We reformulated it and used particular molecules and ingredients like Iso Super and Broxid and Cetylux. And what these things do is these ingredients do is they really keep it kind of close to your skin, and they last all day long. We talked about the personal. So now the bold. The bold is really interesting for me because, I think we all have kind of alter egos sometimes. We really have alter personalities sometimes. And so when we made the bold version of our fragrances, we had the opportunity not just to make them stronger, but to add ingredients like smokier notes, resiny notes, woody, amber, just deeper, darker notes. You have like the perfect one in the middle, then you have the personal, which is a bit lighter, more ethereal. I call the personal ones like shadow fragrances. I love using that word shadow. It's like you smell the original, but a bit less. And then the bolds are always for me darker and more mysterious, and date night, leather jackets.
You're not afraid for everyone to smell you in the room. Like you're making a statement with the bold. In
terms of our fragrances, we have a core of 6 fragrances. I think we're going to talk about one of them, and I'll tell you why we're going to talk about one of them. But we, of course, brought back the fan favorites, right? Which was gold, it was book, it was moss, and it was velvet, right? So there was 4 we brought back. Then there was this fragrance that Marissa keeps talking about, paper, which is actually was launched years ago, but I think it was just ahead of its time. We dug it out of the archives. Can you see? Okay. So gold, moss, velvet, book, and then we brought back paper. So that's 5. Then we said we have to make our own fragrance, right? That's an art form, and perfumers do that. And so typically you go to a perfumer or a perfume company that specializes in that. So we went to one. So you go to the perfume house, and all the perfumers work, and they give you these things. These are like 1 ounce versions. I'm not going to turn it. Well, I'm going to turn it really quick. You can't read it.
And then you spray.
I keep doing that until someone does a screen capture and sees what it's called. Okay. So anyway, so you get these little things, right? So each one of these is a perfumer who creates a fragrance based on what they interpreted as what I said, right? So if you say I want to make a beachy fragrance that's salty with a little bit of seaweed, and so you go and you smell these things. And usually they, like back there's about 18 of them. This is our new project we're working on. I can't show you. So you smell all these, right? So we're going through all of them, and you're kind of polite because some of them they're not bad fragrances. They're just not right for you. So you're like, yeah, not bad, not bad. And then we get to one, and then we're like, holy cow, right? And everybody, we were not just Marissa and I, was like 5 of us, and we just stopped, and we looked at each other, and we're like, that's it, right? Do tell.
Yes, so we smelt it. It was so unexpected. It was super mysterious. We didn't know how to describe it. We didn't know where they came up with this concept, but we knew we were seeing a color and getting a particular vibe. And then we named it within 30 seconds.
Literally. So we smelled this fragrance. We looked at each other. We're like, milk, right? So they gave it to us. We called it milk. We launched in Sephora. It's our #1 seller.
And we made a personal and a bold.
So we're going to talk about milk. So thanks to you guys. Milk is definitely our bestseller. It is our most unique, distinct, long-lasting, diffusive. Like it checks all of those boxes.
It does.
What's interesting about it is that it combines this idea of a cold milk and warm milk. It's really odd how you can have a fragrance be both warm and cold.
Yes.
The reason, I'll tell you very quickly, I don't want to go too deep into it, but the inspiration was a fireplace, like a fire pit, like a toasting fire pit, and cold welded steel, because I like to do some welding and other things over the weekends. And so I like to hang out by the fire, and then I like to work with my hands. And so she was inspired by that, and she made a fragrance, basically, which is toasted, roasted marshmallows with this cool milk accord for her welded steel, but kind of a cool accord combined together. You want to kind of go deeper into
I think the reason it works so well for everybody is something about milk is nostalgic and comforting for everyone. So that is like the home base of it all. But other than that, like I said, other than it being mysterious, it's this very cozy, comforting fragrance. So for smell-o-vision purposes, I'll try my best to describe it, but it has the cold milk. So there is that element there, but then it has the mahogany wood. It has the toasted marshmallows. For me, it transports me, like you can say, right to a fireside, situation. So it's very, very comforting. So and then maybe really quickly, just to touch on what makes these two different from each other. For me, we amplify the woody notes, the fiery woody element in this fragrance. So it's a bit smokier, a bit more woodsy, a bit more fireside, less marshmallow. And then I feel like the personal amps up that sweet, marshmallowy, musky element. Definitely the ICO Super is more prevalent.
big thank you to all of you. Big thank you to Sephora. And we're going to be out and about. So we also have an Instagram called Commodity IRL, which is where we are going to be kind of around the country in Sephora's. So if you ever want to see us or get a gift with purchase, you can kind of follow that and you'll see where we're landing.
And this was fun. Thanks for having us, guys.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.